Okay, so in this video, I'm going to explain how you can tell if an Umamusume is good in teen trials or not. Now, it basically all boils down to how well can this horse score, which the biggest factor is just can they activate their unique, can they get top three? So, like, can they actually win? And just how many skills can they actually activate? So, you can see this is what I listed as the top priorities for a team trials horse. See unique, skills, their stat growth, and their career, which I will elaborate on later. But these are just the main factors. So here I go a little bit more in depth and exactly explaining what the unique means. You can see there were basically two gold skills, and if you leveled it up, if you limit broke your horse, it's worth even more. So you really want to activate this. If your unique does not activate, basically that horse is garbage in team trials. Like there's just no getting around the unique. You can play around everything else, but if the unique doesn't activate, the horse is basically just dead. Now this will be less important as time goes on and we just get more and more skills that you just inherit and get from cards. But right now, the base skills that a horse has is actually pretty important. Especially the gold skills. Like if you have two gold skills that activate consistently, it can add a lot of score. And just the more skills you have, the higher your score will be. So you want as many as possible. So a horse having really good skills to start really helps in team trials. Now, the stat growth of a horse also helps a lot. And what I mean by that is just the bonus stats you get. So, like, a lot of horses have 20% speed, and this is really good because horses that have good stat bonuses are just easier to train. The less time you spend training, the more time you can spend racing, which means you can buy more skills, which means you get a higher score. And you can see I listed the priorities. Basically, speed and wit are the most important too. If you don't have a 20% in either speed or wit, the horse is like way harder to train as a consequence. So that would significantly nerf the viability of a horse. And I guess stamina can help a little bit if you're making a medium or long horse, but otherwise it's just dead weight. And I guess power is just a little bit of a bonus to help you win. So this is a little bit of an underrated reason to consider bringing a horse or not to team trials. Some horses just have careers that buff them. What I mean by that is essentially how many G1s you can race. That actually is more important than you think because these G1s can add up to like one or two bonus skills, maybe even more depending on how much you race. So, for this reason, a horse with a good career will actually have more skills, which means higher score. And there's also horses that have the food events, and also sometimes just some extra energy events. The food event is really good because it gives you 30 energy. That just means you can race more, you don't have to rest as much, and that means more skills and higher score. Now here you can see I gave some examples. Bakshin, her career really nerfs her. We all know about the infamous summer camp where she's like, oh, I'm just gonna race during summer camp and screw you over. You have one less day of summer camp, which is when your most important rainbows happen, so that kind of sucks. She also decides to race a bunch of G2s and G3s instead of actually the G1s, which give the most skill points. So that means she will get less skills, and sprint and mile G1s, there's not that many. Most G1s are medium or long, but mostly medium. Now, Ogrika, she has an amazing career. She can run every single G1 in the game. She gets so much energy from her food events because she just wants to eat all the time. And she doesn't make you run anything besides G1 races, which means you get way more skill points. She can just run every single race ever, and you just get a cajillion skills. Now, this is a little bit of an honorary mention. It's not as important because you can just use other horses, but right now, a lot of us have accounts that are kind of handicapped by how many horses we have. So having horses that are flexible can be a little bit of a help. Now, the reason we need horses to be flexible right now is because ideally you have a horse that does not share the same strategy as your other two horses. This is so you get the bonus score from the good positioning, and having a horse gain the good positioning bonus is potentially like 4 skills just activated. So it's a pretty big buff. So you really don't want to try to stack horses of the same strategy. Right now, if your count doesn't have a lot of horses, you might have to stack a bunch of pace chasers, which is kind of unfortunate. You kind of have to be very creative, change your horse's strategy, just make sure they can activate their ult in that strategy. If they can't, it's better to just have two of the same strategy. Now here I give an example of what exactly I mean. It's just Ogre Cap again. She can just go everywhere. She can be whatever she wants. She can be a pace chaser. She can be a late searcher. She can be an end closer. She can be anything. And because of her base aptitudes, she can be in every single distance besides sprint without like really good parents. Now, you will have to have a single dirt store if you want her in dirt, or a single star if you want her in long, but this is just very easy. Like for dirt specifically, they literally give you a dirt parent at the start of the game, so you just don't have an excuse. So I just want to give an example of a horse that has all the aspects that I just mentioned. And this horse, as you can see, is Maruzensky. And I'm going to explain how she encompasses all of these aspects that we just discussed. Now, her unique, this like potentially might be the most consistent unique to activate in the entire game, and I'm not even kidding. If we look at it, it will activate if you're in the top 5 At any point in the final corner or later, you just have to be fifth at literally any time pass. So as long as your horse doesn't get blocked, this unique will activate. So she has a good unique. What else does she have? She has some pretty good skills. Let's see, she has early lead. It's very cheap. Will basically always activate. As long as she's a front runner and 5 seconds have passed in the race, this will activate. Very cheap. Will always activate. Good skill. Now you look at her two golds. Changing gears is a very, very good goal skill for team trials. Basically, you just have to be in the front 50% in the mid race, and Maruzensky is a front runner, so I don't know how you're not meeting this requirement. This gold skill will basically always activate every single time. It's almost impossible not to. Very, very good gold skill. Oh, this one's pretty easy to activate too. There's times when it won't activate if you're like in the front and no other horse like ever challenges you somehow the entire race. Then yeah, this skill might not activate. But the condition to meet is just you need to pass a horse mid race a single time and then it will activate. So if there's no other fronts in the race, it won't activate, but that's pretty rare. So this is still a pretty consistent skill. So yeah, she has two good golds and one good skill. So her skills are very, very good for team trials. Now let's just look at her stat growth. You can see her stat bonus is 20% wit, 10% speed. This is about as good as it gets. I mean, she is extremely mid-max for team trials. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better stat bonus. Now, if we look at her aptitude, you can see she can run a lot of G1s. She can run sprints. She can run mile. She can run medium. Basically, she can run every single distance ever. And her goals are basically only G1s. It's a single G2. So she gets tons of skill points basically.